Good morning, everyone. I am Jonathan Little here with James. Mr. James, are you having a good morning?
Yeah.
Today, you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about folding big hands, folding four of a kind. This is a question I've been asked.
We have towers. We build towers.
We build towers. Do you play Go Fish?
Yeah, and we build towers.
We build towers too. But in Go Fish, since you've been a little boy, just like James, our little girl, your whole goal was to make four of a kind. And now,
poker.
Every once in a while in poker, you have to fold it. You don't want to fold four of a kind. This talk is inspired by a hand that Kym Lim played the other day. Let me see if I can show it to you all. Here it is. Here's the hand. We're playing 20, 40, 80. Reg opens, early position to $200. You flat with pocket queens next to act, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to 3-bet. A whale flats in position. Flop comes ace, queen, queen. Everybody checks. I already made a video about this, so I'm not going to go too in-depth in this. I would have just bet the flop, but checking's fine if you think everyone's done with it. Turns 8 of diamonds. Checks around again. Okay? River's 10 of diamonds. So now, king, jack of diamonds wins. Jack and 9 of diamonds wins. Reg bets 200. You make it 1,500 with quads. Perfectly fine. Whale folds. Reg makes it 6,800. Right here, you dropped my notes on the floor. Right here, I may actually just call. Because when Reg makes it 6,800, are they really going to call if you're raised with, what, 10s full? Probably not.
Towers.
They may call with aces.
Towers.
Yeah, we're talking about four of a kind right now. Can you talk about four of a kind right now? Okay. Anyway, she makes it 21,000. He shoves 42,000 more. She folds.
No.
Four of a kind.
I don't want to be on your show.
You don't want to be on my show?
No.
Oh, tell everybody bye.
Bye-bye.
You say good luck in your games?
Good luck in your games.
Say thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for joining me today.
You say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
Can you blow a kiss? Okay. Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye, Sarah.
Whoa. Don't knock the door over. So, I posted this hand and my thoughts about it on YouTube. Make sure you go back and watch that video if you have not already. Seems like people are enjoying it. Hey, I'm in my show right now. Yeah. Go play with Grandpa. Grandpa, can you take James, please? James, you have to behave if you're going to be here. Are you going to be here? Go with Grandpa. Go play with Grandpa.
I want to be with you. I want to be with Daddy. I want to be happy.
All right, if you want to go again, you just let me know, okay? And then Grandpa's going to take you for good, okay? You have to behave if you're going to be here. This is a big boy show. This is a big boy show. Can you be a big boy?
Yeah.
James learned to pee and poop in the toilet the other day. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you, James.
It's not open. It's not closed.
It's okay. Okay. So, I posted this hand on YouTube, and I got a pile of comments. Some good, some bad. Stop. I have to read this. I have all my notes here. So I wanted to go through this. And the most common reply was, oh, I can't fold quads. Or, I can't fold any hand, essentially, right? And, please stop. The idea of I can't fold quads, why? Why can you not fold quads? Why are four of a kind so strong in your brain to the point that you can't fold it? I mean, you hear people say things like, oh, I can't fold jacks pre-flop, or oh, I can't fold kings pre-flop, right? And, hey, not on the keyboard, not on the keyboard. James is rolling his card on the keyboard. James, stop, come on, I'm going to make you leave if you do that. You're going to break the stream. I can't have you breaking the stream. I know it's an adult show, it's brutal, huh? It's brutal, huh? It's brutal, huh? So why do you think there are specific hands that you are incapable of folding? Realize there is a hand ranking chart in poker. Pre-flop hand ranking chart, post-flop hand ranking chart. But like just because your hand is high on the hand ranking chart does not necessarily make it a good hand. Right? Because think about it. There are many scenarios where the action is such that even a normally good hand is not good. I mean, I had a hand the other day in a World Poker Tour tournament where it went raise from a good kid, tight guy 3-bet early position. I had kings. Yeah, haha, you got kings, you're about to lose. I cold called. Under the gun, re-raised. Tight guy, 5-bet. I folded, right? And in that scenario, I was just like really convinced. The opponents both had very, very strong ranges. And turns out the tight player only had jacks. He was just bad. Yeah, he was just bad. But the good kid had aces because he realized the tight guy should have a good hand, right? And I lost a whopping 10 big blinds. And some people, and that's what happened to your water cup? I asked you to bring your water cup. You left it outside. That's okay. Here, drink this one. Drink this one. A lot of people in that scenario don't recognize that folding is possible. And a lot of people get stuck in the like the GTO mindset of near the top of my range, I can't fold. And I don't know why or where this happened. I know there were some people on YouTube a while back who were just like trying to really say you must play GTO, and if you do anything else, you're screwing up. And it's just not true, right? Like, if your opponents don't play optimally, because right there, I can tell you, under the gun, the good kid probably doesn't have, stop, you have to get off this. Under the gun, he's not bluffing because he knows the guy should be tight. The tight guy should be tight. Tight guy's not bluffing because he's a tight guy, right? Hey, I'm going to make you leave if you don't stop talking. You got to be quiet. Shh. If you're going to talk, it has to be relevant to the discussion, okay? Okay. So anyway, there are situations where if your opponent's ranges are not like perfect GTO ranges, which they rarely are. What did you make? Show everybody. Oh, you made a mountain. It's a peak. Are you peaking? Is this the highest you're going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're distracting me, sir. It's tough to do a stream with Mr. James on my lap. That's actually a tell of strength. I remember someone just said the word steeple. It made me think about it. Here, do your hands like that again. When you're playing at a poker table and someone does this with their hands, usually more in front of them like this, it's almost always a sign of strength. Apparently, anything that defies gravity is really strong. Okay. So anyway, when your opponents don't have enough bluffs in their range, or call it overvalues in their range, hands like kings become folds pre-flop. And this hand, the one we just took down, this hand here is a scenario where when it goes bet, raise, re-raise, re-raise, all in on the river, it's fine, right? Fold. The opponent's probably not bluffing. And realize just because your hand's high on the hand ranking chart does not matter. What do we lose to here? We have quads. Oh, we lose to king, jack of diamonds, and jack, 9 of diamonds. Another thought process people had is that, I would never play king, jack of diamonds or jack, 9 of diamonds like that. Therefore, it's a bad fold. Yeah. But,
I want to stand right here.
You're going to stand up?
Yeah.
The thing is that king, jack of diamonds should actually check the flop, almost certainly. Turn should probably bet, but checking is still viable. River should definitely bet small, given it goes check, 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 check. If you don't understand all of that, check out pokercoaching.com. We go through that type of thing extensively over there. Check out pokercoaching.com/sale. We have discounted prices for all of you today. Or you can get a free trial if you've, you can always just have a free trial. So, it's important to recognize that hand values change pre-flop and they change on the river. That fold with kings is super exploitable. Yeah, it's super exploitative, meaning we are taking advantage of what our opponents do wrong. If they turn around and maximally exploit us, yeah, we're going to get crushed. If they are super out of line and blasting it and I don't realize it, yeah, we're going to lose money. But they're not.
Hey, look, Daddy.
What's this? What is it? It's a unicorn lion. That's you. You're my unicorn lion.
Unicorn lion.
Yeah, unicorn lion. All right, go play with it. Go play with it. Your problem with folding quads is that they usually are in a bad beat jackpot game. Well, look, it would have been noted if this was a bad beat jackpot game. It's important to realize that we are discussing this particular hand, not a small stakes cash game with a bad beat jackpot, right? Also, in the small stakes, you should probably be more inclined to call. Why? Because people will not realize that, like, 3 aces here is not the nuts. Because they're just bad. They can't even read the board. But we're playing a high stakes cash game. This is an adult game here. We're not goofing off. These are people who are playing to try to make money, and they're playing for real. And they're not just going to be straight giving their money away. a lot of people said, like, oh man, but he could have aces when he goes all in. Like, no, he's not awful. It's listed that he's a reg. Now, reg doesn't necessarily mean a good reg, but he's probably okay, right? So, get that idea out of your head that I would not have played this hand this way, therefore the opponent would not have played this hand this way. Let's see. Sorry if this is off topic. It certainly is. Certainly is off topic. We are trying to stay on topic in this show. When you play, do you use Hold'em Manager or Poker Tracker? I use Hold'em Manager. Is there a major difference? I don't know. They're owned by the same company. Consult YouTube, but not this YouTube channel. All right, next. So first off, we know I can't fold hands like that is a ridiculous thought process. Next, where your hand falls on the hand ranking chart is irrelevant because it's important to realize that on different boards, different hands are of different strengths, right? So say the board is 9, 6, 4, 2, 2, and 2 flush draws missed. Like ace queen's pretty good there, right? Because it beats all the obvious bluffs. Whereas on 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, ace queen is total garbage because it loses to literally everything, right? It's important to realize that. And I think a lot of people don't. They think a hand like pocket aces preflop is an unfoldable hand, which is sort of the next point, right? Like your preflop, flop, turn, hand strength does not really matter at the end of the day. What matters is your strength on the current street. Most obvious example of this is say you flopped a set, right? Someone raises, you call with pocket, whatever, sevens. Flop comes 9, 7, 2, 2 spades. They bet, you raise, they call. Turn is a 3, okay? They check, you bet, they call. River is 6 of spades, right? 9, 7, blank, blank, 6 of spades. Very bad card for you. Or whatever, any spade, right? And that spot on the river, when they check, you probably don't want to be betting because if they bet, or if you bet, they're only going to call you with flushes and straights, which certainly they could have, right? And if they lead into you, you probably want to fold because all the draws got there. It's important to recognize that when all the draws get there, your hand becomes a bluff catcher. So there are a few things that can turn your hand into a bluff catcher. First, all the draws get there, and your hand just goes way down the relative hand ranking chart, right? Because again, quite often, for example, royal flushes are not possible, and straight flushes are not possible, so those don't even apply, right? Sometimes full houses aren't possible, sometimes flushes aren't possible, so now the best hand you can have is a straight. Sometimes straights aren't possible, best hand you can have is 3 of a kind, right? So you see, like, the hand ranking chart doesn't even make a whole lot of sense to like just go straight down and say, oh, this is in the middle, so it's good, right? It doesn't make sense. But that is actually how a lot of people think. Whenever you say things like, oh, I can't fold quads, what you're saying is you do not understand relative hand strength, which is a very, very, very basic idea of poker. That hand values change as the board changes and as ranges change. So this brings up another point that someone said. The odds of 4 of a kind losing at a 9-handed game is 1 in 193,746. Therefore, you should always call on the river in that spot. Let me bring back up the hand. Therefore, you should always call on the river in that spot. And take a second, figure out why that thought process is horribly flawed. First things first, the opponent raised from a position, which removes all the garbage from their hand, their range, right? Now they're not playing 7-2 offsuit and 6-2 offsuit and 9-2 offsuit. So right off the bat, we've already significantly cut down that 1 in 193,000 number to maybe like 1 in, what's the number? Now it's probably like 1 in 30,000 or something like that, right off the bat. Next, well, the board had to be paired, which is another giant hoop you have to hop through. There has to be a straight flush available, which is another giant hoop you have to hop through, right? It has to go bet, raise, re-raise, all in on the river, which is multiple giant hoops you have to hop through. So you see that, like, by the time you get to the river, that 1 in 193,000 number goes down to like even money, or actually you're probably against the quads. So these things all combined make it to where these quads in this scenario are a bluff catcher, which we discuss a lot at pokercoaching.com. With your bluff catchers, you want to keep the pot manageable. You don't want to play in a manner such that it's easy for you to get blown off your hand. Which is why I think whenever Reg here makes it, whenever it goes bet 200, you make it 1,500 with quads, Reg makes it 6,800, I think the right play, after thinking about this more, is probably just to call if you think the Reg is a good battling Reg who is not, or who is capable of bluffing you on the river some portion of the time with a jam. Because if you give any, again, what is a reg? If you give any world-class player here that jack of diamonds, they're at least going to consider it. Because think about it, how many combinations of jack nine of of a jack of diamonds are even in this player's range, right? They have ace with jack of diamonds. Okay. Are they opening king jack offsuit? No. Would they need to re-raise the river with king jack because it's a straight? No. So that doesn't make sense. Queen jack would not play this way, most likely, because we can't have queen jack anyway because we have quads. Jack 10. Jack 10 would check the flop. Jack 10 would check the turn. Jack 10 would not bet the river. So that doesn't make sense. So now, all we're looking at here is ace jack. Would ace jack check the flop? Sure. Very clear marginal made hand. Doesn't want to bet and get raised, etc., etc. Perfectly viable. Would it check the turn when the diamond comes? Sure. Right? Same story. Easy check call. Would it value bet the river when 10 of diamonds comes with a jack high flush? Sure. Right? Ace jack makes a whole lot of sense. So now we have an obvious bluff candidate that makes a whole lot of sense. So there's 3 combinations of that, right? We have ace of hearts, jack of diamonds, ace of spades, jack of diamonds, ace of clubs, jack of diamonds. But that's really it. There's 3 possible bluffing hands, right? And 2 possible nut hands. Now you have to ask, would the flushes play in this manner? The straight flushes. Gets a little bit dicey, a little bit iffy. I'm not entirely sure. King jack of diamonds should almost certainly check the flop. It can easily check call. If it bets and gets called, it's almost always in bad shape. So easy check here. Would jack 9 of diamonds check? Maybe not. Jack 9 of diamonds has a tougher time calling the flop, so it probably wants to bet instead. But even then, king jack would certainly play this way. On the turn, would king jack check? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I don't know. And it's important to realize you don't know. And then on the river, would it bet small? Yes. So many people in this scenario said, would king jack of diamonds bet small on the river with a royal flush? Because don't you want to bet big to get called to get a lot of money in the pot? And the answer here is no. Think about the ranges you're against. When it goes check, 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 multi-way, you're probably not against anything good. So the way you get money in the pot here is by betting small to get called by under pairs and to get called by bad aces. If you bet big, say you bet 800, pocket fours is just going to fold. Also, you never are going to induce a bluff, or rarely are going to induce a bluff when you bet big, whereas if you bet small, you may induce a bluff. So king jack of diamonds is certainly a hand that is viable. Jack 9, maybe not so much. So it's possible for the opponent to have ace jack with jack of diamonds and king jack of diamonds. Both those make logical sense. So now, the question is, does the opponent actually bluff for 42,000 more? And some people will, some people won't. That's where it's up to you to determine. I mentioned in my video that there are certainly some players who I've played like 25-50 and 50-100 with who I would just always call them here every time because they bluff a lot. There are also plenty of players, probably 90% of the player pool, 90% of the player pool who never bluff here. So against 90% of the player pool, you probably want to fold. All right, let's see. Kym was stuck 20K heading into this hand. Should that have a bearing on her mindset? No. Why are we thinking Kym's bad? Why do we think Kym is... Like, this here presumes that someone who plays these games on a regular basis is going to care about being stuck. Why would you care about being stuck only 20K in a 20, 40, 80 game? It's 250 big blinds. I mean, get over it, right? I mean, that happens all the time. I don't know Kym at all, but from looking at her posts, looking at her like Instagram and whatnot, she seems to be a fine, competent player. Do we know what the guy actually had? No. What about that chick that folded quads recently? That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the very strong poker player who folded quads in a high-stakes game. Is she an idiot? No, she seems to actually be quite competent. Everyone who's saying that the quads fold is horrible, they might be the idiots here, which is kind of fun to think about, right? Also, if you're watching this on Instagram, we actually have the hand pulled up on all the other sources where you can watch this, so go check that out. All right, do you think a lot of people talk out there, or do you think a lot of talk out there is armchair quarterbacking and people truly don't know how they will react until they're in the hot seat? I definitely think that is true. I do think that a lot of people like to say they would do one thing or the other. and they like to think that their opinion matters. And it's important to recognize, very important to recognize in life, if you are not world class at something, or at least very good at something, much better than everyone else you're talking to, your opinion doesn't really matter. For example, if someone asked me about baseball strategy, that'd be really dumb of them, first off, because I don't play baseball. I have played baseball as a kid, know a little bit about baseball, but my opinion does not matter. I would definitely not go up to whoever the best baseball player is and try to give them advice, or any person in the major leagues, and try to give them advice. How dumb do you think I would have to be? I mean, literally dumb, or just like really an egomaniac, to think that my opinion matters about baseball. Again, something that I have like a tiny bit of expertise in. What about take it one step further? Basketball. I don't know anything about basketball. Do you think I'm going to go tell LeBron shooting tips? No, that'd be really dumb, right? So it's important to realize here that Kym is a player who seems to be very competent. Like I said, never played with her, but she seems to be competent. And probably very good. She's grinded up from no money to playing 20, 40, 80 at Bellagio, right? And the idea that you know better than these people if you are not playing at those stakes is kind of silly. And that's why you have to always be looking at things, instead of trying to berate people and tear people down, you need to instead recognize that they may know better than you know. I mean, whenever I'm reviewing high-stakes poker tournaments, like super high rollers, I'm not looking at that to try to figure out where people are screwing up. I'm trying to figure out where I am screwing up, right? And I'm actually pretty good at poker. You would definitely call there. So what a lot of people don't realize here is that if I was playing this hand, like I said, I would not have re-raised to 21,000. Although I do think raising to 21,000 very easily could be the best play. How many people are looking to make others fold quads, though? First off, Luke, we don't know that she has quads, right? You don't know what your opponent has. Also, you know that she cannot have the actual nuts, right? You'd have to know she's capable of folding quads, which apparently most people are not. Well, most people are not, but most people are not good enough to play 20, 40, 80. Most people can't even read the board, apparently. Right? If you can't even read the board and see there's a straight flush available, yeah, you're not going to fold quads. But we're playing 20, 40, 80, no limit hold'em. This is a high-stakes game, right? And most people there are competent, and they recognize, oh my god, I don't have the jack of diamonds, this is not good. And which is why I don't think it would have made it 21,000 to start with. Some people said if you are folding quads there, you're probably playing under bankroll, and I disagree with that too. That almost has nothing to do with it, right? Because like I said, I mean, I'm not under bankrolled for the game, but I don't think I'd even make the 21K. So, it's important to recognize. What do you have?
Cards.
Oh, you came back to make quads?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, James brought his Go Fish cards.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You want them back?
Nope.
I keep them?
Yeah, you kick him and don't shut your forget.
Okay, here. Go find 4 of a kind. Go find 4 6s and bring them back. Oh, I'll take them. Okay, fine. Thank you. Bye. Love you. See you later. James brought his... Remember we were talking about Go Fish cards earlier? Because as a kid, you learned that quads are good. You want to make quads out of your Go Fish cards, right? Turns out sometimes quads still lose. All right. Poker players can fold quads. Card players cannot. Indeed, indeed. Let's see. If the opponent didn't have the hand... Against the world-class player wasn't bluffing to be important. You want to hang out? You want to hang out for a minute?
I want to go back. I want to go back.
All right, you be good. Will you be good, please?
Yeah, okay.
Did she fold the best hand? We don't know. It doesn't matter. We already discussed this in my video. If you've not already seen it on YouTube, go to youtube.com/pokercoaching. It'll come back up. Come right up for you. What's the best advice for dealing with long streaks of bad beats? Play properly bankroll to make sure you're playing well. My answer is volume and variance. Or my answer is volume to cure variance, indeed. How do you calculate if a tournament is worth playing? Ask what your hourly rate is and can you achieve that hourly rate in that tournament? Based on your ROI, right?
That's so fun.
Let's see. Her making it 21K is bad except for aces full. What else can call? Well, the thing is again, Kevin, this goes back to the thought process of aces is one of the few hands in the opponent's range. Because think about it, right? Stop touching that, please. Remember, it goes check. A lot of people will check aces, which I don't think is a good play, but a lot of people will.
I saw a choo-choo train.
What?
Guys, choo-choo train.
You saw a choo-choo train?
Yeah.
Where?
It's
Sit back a little bit. Sit back a
in
little
the
bit.
store.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The street in the store, which was my mommy, and then I took a taxi.
Yeah, you took a taxi?
Yeah.
You saw a train?
Yeah.
Cool. That's nice. Did you like it?
Yeah, and I took a bus too.
Cool. So anyway, in this scenario,
2 blocks.
you went 2 blocks?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right, so anyway, on the river when it goes 200...
And we saw horses.
You saw horsies?
Yeah.
Did you love the horsies?
Hmm.
Cool.
They just smile at me.
Yes.
Whoop, what's that making noise?
I don't know, that's someone vacuuming above our heads. So anyway, let's get back to poker, okay? And this scenario, whenever it goes, he bets small, he raises, he re-raises. I do agree that aces full is the only hand that will call, or one of the few hands that will call, but 3 combinations of that, 2 combinations of nuts. So if you get called 3 times, if you get called 3 times, and you lose 2 times, think about how much value you're printing. Time for you to go?
Yeah.
All right, go out there and find 4 7s and bring them back, okay?
Okay.
Or 4 8s, your call. Bye. Let's see if it comes back with 4 7s or 4 8s in the next 30 minutes. We have Grips here in the chat in Instagram. Welcome, Grips. Hope you're having a great morning. It seems like the high-stakes community doesn't give it seems like the poker community doesn't give high-stakes female players the credit they deserve and just assume they are nits and play with their emotions. Seems like some sexism is involved. Indeed, Murray. Well, for example, someone comes in here and says, is this about that hand where that chick folded quads? I'm putting the aggressive accents on that. I apologize if that's not what you meant. But it's important to recognize that people can be good or bad at poker based on many things. It does seem there are not a whole lot of high-stakes female players, and there are many, many reasons for this, but there are plenty of world-class high-stakes female poker players. And if you have the thought process in your mind that females must be bad at poker because of insert any logic, it's probably not ideal.
A bag of phone.
Did you find me 4 7s?
No.
Did you find 4 8s?
Go the floor.
You dropped them all over the floor. James, you're really making this episode hard. I thought this was going to be a nice, good, clean, concise episode. I had such good notes taken. Let's see. Let's see. Time to go tell him to find 4 4s. Should you go find 4 4s? 4 4s? Nope. You've seen people put a player on aces or kings and still got all in with their jack 9 suited just to crack them. Well, okay, sure. Does James say, do you have any 9s? Can you say, do you have any 8s? And then can you say go fish?
Sure.
Can you say go
I
fish?
got some 8s.
Sure, you got some 8s. James actually likes giving away the cards. Do you have any thoughts on whether or not the hand is worth as much analysis as it is getting? I mean, look, anytime people make plays on that seem big, it's certainly worth discussion, but at the same time, I actually don't think it's like an absurd fold or anything. I think it's really a question of, is my opponent bluffing often enough here?
Go make pee-pee.
You're going to go make pee-pee? Okay.
Then I go come back.
Then you'll come back?
Yeah.
All right, go make pee-pee. See ya. Is it worth analysis? Is any hand worth analysis, right? I mean, I don't know. I think it's a very good example, though, of when there is a lot of aggression, ranges start to knit it up. Most people aren't running too many big bluffs when it goes bet, raise, re-raise, re-raise. Like where I folded kings the other day, right? It's a spot where they're just not bluffing. So if they're not bluffing, the question is, are they overvaluing? And in a high-stakes 20-40-80 game against someone who's good, a reg, right? They're not overvaluing. The opponent plays well. So if the opponent plays well, and so it means they're not overvaluing, and you think they're not bluffing because you don't think this player is going to go 200, 1,500, 6,800, 21,000, 42,000 on top, just fold. How about just call the 3-bet? Yes, that's what I already said. I probably would have just called the 68,000. But I think that might be a bit of a mistake, right? Because like I said, imagine that the opponent will call for 21,000 every time with full house aces, aces full. 3 combinations of that, and I'll only jam with the straight flush. Well, you win, what is it? You win 60% of what 30,000. So you put in 15, you get back 18. You win $3,000 if your opponent plays straightforward.
I came back.
You came back? So is it worth $3,000 to do that? If you think the opponent is not going to bluff you too often, and you think the opponent, well, or ever, if you think the opponent's never going to bluff you, then it's like an easy value raise, right? Assuming they will call with the aces full, which may or may not happen. So Matt says you can't 3-bet and then fold quads, right? Though, well, no, you can't. That's the thing. A lot of people show everybody. Who is that?
It's a daddy.
That's you and Daddy. Oh, look, we have your school bus here. It's nice, huh?
I got the school bus at home.
Yeah, you got a school bus at home?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I mean.
So this logic here of you can't raise and then fold the quads, right? You can!
Gosh.
This is what happens when someone raises you 3-bet like ace queen and they 4-bet you and you fold. Well, a lot of people may not fold there. Are you going? James. You're a real distraction today. You're very sweet. Are you going?
Yeah.
You're going? Here, let me help you. Here, there you go. All right, see you in a bit. Love you. Thank you for helping me. You're a good boy. This is essentially a value raise, right? Because whenever you do re-raise, I just laid this out essentially, right? Whenever you make it 21,000 there, you presume the opponent's only going to jam with the nuts, but will call with some worse hands. 3 combinations of worse hands compared to 2 combinations of jam. When they jam, you have an easy fold. You have now a bluff catcher, and you think you have played the hand in such a manner that they're not bluffing anymore. So you have an easy fold. You have 0% equity. When you have 0% equity, you have to fold. You would have a hard time folding this if the opponent misevaluates their hand strength and does that with a naked king of diamonds thinking he has the nuts. Well, again, if your opponent literally cannot read the board, all this analysis does not apply. Naked king of diamonds here is a hand on the river where you bet 200, your opponent makes it 1,500, you just call. You would never re-raise to 68,000, you would certainly never jam for 42,000. Does he offer a week of free coaching, Kevin? Week is spelled W-E-E-K. Yes, go to pokercoaching.com. Actually, you can get a completely free trial membership. There's not a ton there, but it'll last you, quite a few days of going through and grinding it out. And it's not limited to a week or anything like that. What's this?
Ducky.
It's a penguin.
I play again.
All right, go on. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Have fun.
I can play this.
Yeah.
What's it? This open. What's it open?
Okay, bye. You admire my patience with James. Oh, he's a good boy. So this is something else that Moonshine says that I disagree with. Actually, something Kym said too that I disagree with. If the person is bluffing with the blocker, then God bless them because they deserve to win the pot. And that's something I disagree with. Because they should just play well, right? And I can guarantee if you run this through a solver, it's going to give you that ace with jack of diamonds, and it's going to bluff it. For one combination. Or I can tell you this. That's what the solver is going to do. So, if that's what the solver is going to do, you're just playing well, right? And now the next question becomes, what if my opponent literally will never call the all-in without the nuts? Well, so now I get to drastically overbluff. I'm supposed to overbluff. If you ran this through the solver and said my opponent will only call the jam with a straight flush, but they can't have the straight flush, you should jam every hand that has a jack of diamonds in it. So what you're saying is if the opponent plays well, they deserve to win the pot. But if they play well, that means you need to defend optimally, right? Let's see. Let's see. Block user. All right, we got caught up. What else did I have written down here? But I just want to make it clear to everyone here that you see that even some of you are having these thought processes of, well, once I re-raise, I can't fold, right? But that's just not good logic. Or, but 4 of a kind on the flop, that's really strong. Yeah, but here we are on the river, right? And you have to ask yourself, why do you have these thought processes in your head that make it to where you do not recognize hand values and hand strengths, right? So you need to figure out why that is. And if you can figure out why that is, you're going to start just doing significantly better at poker because you're going to find more spots to hero call because you're going to realize ace high is actually good here or king high is actually good here. And you're going to find way more spots to hero fold. And that's just going to allow you to play better because you make more correct calls and you make more correct folds, right? And being stuck in your head like, you know, I have quads, I can't fold, or I have pocket jacks pre-flop, I can't fold. Like, why? Just figure that out, right? You're doing great with your boy and you don't get frustrated with his interruptions. Well, I do my best. What is the villain jamming range in that spot? Is it only king jack of diamonds? Well, jack 9 of diamonds too, right? That's the nuts as well. As soon as the villain plays well and plays the jack of diamonds deceptively, we have to call. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If she said the opponent was a lag or a maniac, would that change the dynamic? It would. It definitely would. If she said the opponent was bad. If she said the opponent was the whale. But something else I want to make really clear is that we are looking at a hypothetical, text-based hand history, okay? Hypothetical, text-based hand history. Recognize that you don't know what's actually happening in this hand. Who is the reg? What does reg even mean in Kym's mind? Right? Some people think, well, first off, what is a reg? A reg means a regular. What does a regular mean? Does a regular have to be good? The answer is no, right? And I think a lot of things get lost when discussing with 280 character limit. Because is this a good reg? Is this a bad reg? Is the reg loose? Is the reg aggressive? Or is this just someone who shows up and plays every day? Which, means they're not bad, but it certainly doesn't mean they're not good. Right? So, what is a reg? Next, who is the whale? Is the whale awful? Is the whale just kind of bad? That matters a lot too, right? What did the opponents look like on the flop? Were they clearly dejected? Were they clearly done with it? What did they look like on the turn? What did they look like on the river? On the river, did the guy shove in 42K and start celebrating? Honestly? Or did he sit there and be all stoic? Was he really nervous? We don't know any of this, right? And you have to understand, we don't know any of this. And because you don't know any of this, it makes it to where your analysis is going to be heavily flawed. And this is very clear. This is a very exploitative scenario. From GTO point of view, yeah, call. Duh. Right? We have second nuts. Chalk it up to a cooler. But that's not how you make the most money from poker. It's a good baseline, but that's not what we're doing. If she has a queen of diamonds in their hand, it's a no-brainer and a blocking bet with a straight flush. And here's the range to boats, bluffs, and flushes. Matt, she has 4 of a kind. She has 4 of a kind. Take a second, figure out why the queen of diamonds in your hand does not matter when there are 2 of them on the flop. Let's see.
Hey, look.
Oh, what do you have?
D for daddy.
Oh, what do you find?
A D for daddy.
A D for daddy?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Push you back the foot. Hey.
You're so sweet finding a D for daddy.
I'm taking a picture.
Oh, click, click. You found a D for daddy. Let's see. I'll be a not lifetime loser. You'll never fold quads even on an ace, king, queen, jack, queen, queen board. Well, you shouldn't fold quads there because you have the nuts. Probably said you did 42 quizzes on poker coaching the other night. Congrats. Nice. They're a great practice tool. I'm glad to hear it. You love to try a quiz with a similar situation as Kym's. Well, I've never been in that scenario. But you can take the quiz yourself, right? I already told you my answer. Answer is, if the opponent plays perfectly, easy call. If the opponent doesn't play perfectly, It's either an easier call or an easier fold. And that's actually the answer to a lot of river spots is the opponent bluffing too often? And the answer is no. Most people do not bluff too often. If anything, most people drastically underbluff the river. Since most people drastically underbluff the river, fold, right? Let's see. You're looking for calling in the big blind charts. Is it normally flatting with many suited hands versus low jack? Absolutely. On pokercoaching.com, in the tool section, there are implementable GTO charts for 15 big blinds, 25 big blinds, 40 big blinds, and 100 big blinds. And they have all of these hands there. And yes, you should be flatting those hands, assuming the raise is not gigantic. Why did Tony G sometimes double straddle in the Triton cash game? Because he enjoys gambling. Let's see. All right, let's see. Would you play this hand differently in a tournament compared to a cash game? No. If I was playing in a tournament and we were somehow 850 big blinds deep and that took place, I would fold. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? A lot of people get hung up on the money as well, right? It's funny, like how many things you can get hung up on in this hand. First off, a lot of people think I can't fold quads, right? Which is already a mindset problem. Next, a lot of people think quads are high on the hand chart, so I have to call them. It's a problem. A lot of people don't consider their opponent's range. That's a problem. People think that turn hand strength is relevant on the river. That's a problem.
I got this back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I got this back.
James delivered back my unicorn lion. Do you think you would have folded the quads there, sir? It's the right play. Let's see. Clint says he's late. Good morning. Welcome. Where else can they get hung up? They can get hung up on the idea of, quads only loses 1 in 193,000 times. None of that stuff matters, right? There are a lot of ways you can get hung up in this hand, and a lot of them result in you losing that extra 400 something or 500 big blinds that I'm going to presume Kym saved. Martin keeps posting a hand. I guess you'd like me to review this hand? Yeah, ace king of diamonds board was 9 straight flush available. After the flop and turn, your bet gets called. You get river raised. So don't bet the river. And after you just call, Villain was bluffing, and some of the players were surprised with only the call. I mean, I wouldn't even bet the river there. On Jack 10, 8, 7, 5, so a 9 makes a straight. You're trying to get called by a queen? Pretty optimistic to even value bet there. In a tournament 2 days ago, you had 9-4 of diamonds. Flop was Jack 6-2 with 2 diamonds. You had 100K chips and the bet was 30. Should you call or not? Well, the question is, should you shove or not? Should you call or should you shove? You should clearly not fold, assuming the pot has any money in the pot. Marco, realize here, you've given me no information about this hand. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/notes and present the hand as is listed at jonathanlittlepoker.com/notes, or post it in Easy Hand Replayer. Okay. So anyway, I think a lot of people don't recognize all of these things, and that leads them to making mistakes. And the nice thing about this hand is that this hand is very exciting, very elaborate, right? It's generated a lot of attention. But a lot of people don't realize all those little mindset flaws I just went through come up in a lot of hands. A whole lot of hands, right? And if you are making these mistakes on a regular basis, you're just not going to win at poker. And I want you all to win at poker. GMAC said, you just won last night's forgotten 10,000 holiday tournament with help from some of your tips. Well, good. Congrats on that. Why is she even playing 1,000 big blinds? That's just stupid. Well, think about this, Bajurkson. There's a very obvious reason to play 1,000 big blinds deep. Very obvious reason. Very, very, very obvious reason. There's a whale in the game. When you're playing against a whale, you want to be as deep as the whale. So, if whale's 1,000 big blinds deep, and you get to have position on the reg, why would you not be deep? It'd be a big mistake not to be deep. And again, this goes back to the idea of people presume they know what they are talking about, despite the fact that they have no actual experience playing in these scenarios. Realize that the most profitable spots you can be in are playing deep stacked against bad players. And that's it. Here we are. Kym has it. She's playing deep stacked against bad players. Doesn't mean you're going to win every time. Sometimes you're going to lose. But you print so much money playing 1,000 big blinds deep against players compared to playing 40 big blinds deep against players. And, a lot of people who have that thought process of, I don't want to play 1,000 big blinds deep, is they don't realize that it's kind of becomes a different game, right? Whenever you're playing a slightly different game where you actually need close to the nuts to put all your money in, a lot of people aren't, let's call it, comfortable with that, right? They think, I get top pair, I'm all in. And that's nice and easy whenever, you're playing 40 big blinds deep, but when you're playing deep stack, the game changes significantly, and a lot of people do not recognize that. You say here, you only get 1,000 big blinds all in coolers. Well, first off, notice here, Kym got coolered. She didn't get all of her money in. Think about that for a second. What if the fish, in this scenario, if the fish was in the hand, what if the fish always gets stacked here, but you don't? Doesn't happen all that often. But realize, what is a cooler? It doesn't have to be quads against a straight flush. It can be top straight against bottom straight. What if you only lose 200 big blinds with your bottom straight, but the whale loses 800 big blinds with their bottom straight, or with their bottom set, or with their, pocket queens pre-flop, right? So yeah, you don't get 1,000 big blinds in all that often, but if you get it all in good for 1,000 big blinds 70% of the time, and your opponent gets it all in good 30% of the time, clearly you're just going to print loads of money. Graham says, you're surprised King Jack of Diamonds would not bet the flop. So Graham, think about this, right? Why would King Jack want to bet the flop? King Jack here is a very clear marginal made hand. It can easily check call. But if it bets and gets raised, or even if it bets and gets called, it's behind definitively, right? So this is a scenario where King Jack of Diamonds, I think, is actually a pretty easy check on the flop. Because if you bet it, and if they get raised, it's awful. You could already be close to dead. And if you bet it and get called, you kind of need to get there to improve, right? So yeah, it's a fine triple barrel bluff hand if you feel like it, but it's also a very nice hand just to check and then check call flop. Because then you've induced some bluffs, right? Worse draws can bet, which is great. You don't need to bet that hand. Who's the best online tournament reg on PokerStars? Tag, think about this question real quick. You think I'm playing multi-table tournaments on PokerStars right now? I'm in America. Don't even know the last time I played a tournament on PokerStars. Must have been 3 months ago, 2 months ago. So I don't know. Kevin says, you see, we hit 40,000 subscribers. We did. Thanks to all of you for helping get to 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you're enjoying this, click like, click subscribe. Believe it or not, my family's out there playing and having a party, and I'm in here with all of you. So I'm happy to sacrifice that time for time with you because I want to help all of you improve your skills. And I realize, especially this topic is one that a lot of people seem to be very, very close-minded about. We have to open our minds and learn things to improve ourselves in poker and in life. You've been struggling with getting 4-bet after you 3-bet. You feel like you have to call because you're getting such a great price, but you're in bad spots post-flop. Well, if you're getting really good odds pre-flop and you have a suited hand, you should probably stick around. But if you have ace-jack offsuit, then clearly just fold. If you're going to be super dominated. You think there needs to be more talk on training on other poker players' mindset. Well, I have 2 books on that. I wrote one, then we decided to write another one because people still needed help. Positive Poker, Peak Poker Performance. Can you see these? There they are. Positive Poker, Peak Poker Performance. We have 2 books on mindset. We have multiple mindset courses at pokercoaching.com. Go to pokercoaching.com/sale. You can get a discount to get full access to the site. So, yeah, people do need help with their mindset. And fortunately for all of you, I've already done all the work to make that available for you. Jerson, again, going off on these cooler spots. Look, the thing is you have to realize that if you're playing 1,000 big blinds deep and on the river you have second nuts, it goes bet and you raise and they re-raise you, You don't re-raise them. You fold or you call, right? You typically call. But what a lot of the bad players do is they'll have second nuts on the river. They'll bet, they'll get raised, they'll re-raise, they'll get re-raised, they'll just put their money in, and you stack them because they're not good at deep stacked poker. Another nice part about playing deep stacked, which some people don't recognize, is that you actually get to bluff more often on the river in a lot of spots. For example, like this, right? If we were playing only 20k deep in this scenario, guy bets 200, Kym makes it 1500, Reg makes it 6800, Kym jams with the quads, guy can't bluff now. Having that extra 500 big blinds in their stack allows this guy to run a bluff, which maybe printed him the whole pot. Maybe being deep stacked here, perhaps this world-class player who's playing perfectly, this, whatever it is, $30,000 pot, something like that, $25,000 pot. What stakes I used to play sit and goes. Highest buy-in sit and go I ever played online, I think, was 2K. And I played a lot of 2Ks. Back in the day, there were a lot of $2,000 sit and goes. Now there's like none, but for the most part, I played $200 to $500 sit and goes. That was just because those were the games that ran, right? I was a high volume player. What do we think about the checks with all these diamond hands? I don't know.
Yo-yo?
What?
Have a yo-yo?
Do I have a yo-yo?
Yeah.
I don't have a yo-yo in here.
Have a yo-yo?
I don't have a yo-yo. I bet I can find you one after I'm done here, though. Want me to find you one when I'm done with my show?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can you tell everyone bye-bye? We're going to be done soon. Come, tell them. Come, tell them. Can you say bye, have a great day?
Have a good day.
Can you say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
What are you going to do for the New Year?
Bye.
You're going to take a nap? I hope you learn to sleep for the New Year. I hope I get to sleep too. It's been a nice year of not sleeping with you. All right, see you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Brent says, you're always going to be in business. Bad players are always going to be around. Those who talk about bad beats are the bad players. Pretty true. Pretty true. Pretty true. Let's see. You have to look at the person. Is the person going to shove 800 big blinds on a bluff? I mean, like, this is the thing, though. Like, you just can't know, right? Really, though, a lot of this discussion was to try to make people aware of the fact that in games like poker, where you don't necessarily get good, clean information, a lot of people think they know way more than they know. And quite often it's because you haven't been beat up enough. You haven't had enough downswings. You haven't gone through enough... rough times, essentially. And you probably just have not been owned by people who are much better than you often enough. Also, you don't recognize all the things that are possible to not know. And there are a lot of things in poker that are possible to not know, right? And for that reason, you need to, instead of give your opinion on matters that you may not necessarily have a clue about, or think your opinion's actually very valid and right, realize that we should instead sit back and learn from these scenarios, right? I mean, I was like very, very... I mean, I wasn't surprised. I know how the internet works. And it's important to recognize that people think they know a lot. And because they think they know a lot, that's why they fail. And I don't want all of you to fail because you think you know things that you are actually clueless about. And a lot of people... I mean, I don't even know what it was. 90% of the people said this is an easy call with the quads. Whereas in reality, I don't even think you should be re-raising to 21K. But it's not necessarily bad. It could be good. And like I recognize here, this might be a flaw in my game, right? I'm looking at Kym's hand here, and I can get a flop check, I can get a turn check, but I'm usually not doing it. There are times, though. But I realize that, if you know your opponents really are never jamming, it's actually kind of free to re-raise to 21K if they're going to call with aces full. So there are a lot of assumptions being made, but at the same time, if you make those assumptions properly, you're just going to print loads and loads of money. Probably says 90% of those players are not playing those stakes. Well, yeah, because they're not world-class poker players yet, right? And it's important to realize that a lot of people, like, they don't even realize that we're playing deep stacked here. They're just like, oh, 4 of a kind call. And that's it. And that's a problem. Do you ever play poker on stream? I have a training site, pokercoaching.com. Typically don't play live because I don't actually get to play a ton of online poker. Why? Because we're in America and I don't play on the American sites. So I do have videos of myself playing online, but I do not stream live. Because usually when I am streaming, when I have the opportunity to stream, it's because I'm out of the country. And I don't want to travel with a giant setup and deal with all that. Damien says, which is the right answer that I hope a lot of you come to. When you first saw this hand, you thought, wow, that's bad. But after listening to the analysis by people much better than you, you see the flaws in your thinking. And that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to help you find the flaws in your thinking so that you can improve. Big shout out to God's Big Toe. Yeah, Saturday study streams. God's Big Toe makes a few quizzes for poker coaching. He goes through and takes some quizzes on the stream. You all can go and watch it. You can search him on Twitch, God's Big Toe. You should always lose 100 big blinds there. Yeah, but that's not the game we are playing. That's not the game we're playing. That's not the game we're playing. Are you wary of the bots on America's Card Room? Oh, I don't play on America's Card Room. I know better than that. I do not need to or want to play on America's Card Room. Thank goodness. I do realize that some people don't have any other options. But fortunately, I'm not in that scenario where I have options where I don't need to sit and grind small stakes online tournaments. I know they have like $1 million guarantee tournament or whatever it is. I just don't even care. Doesn't matter. It's not worth my time. So Brent says something here that could be right, but could be wrong. Stop putting yourself in marginal spots. You'll be amazed at the amount of money you can make or save. The problem, though, big problem with this thought process, is that the easiest way to avoid marginal spots is to only go all in pre-flop with pocket aces and fold everything else. Think about that, right? If you go all in pre-flop with pocket aces, you can never get it in behind, and you'll print money. Problem with that, though, is that now you're just losing the blinds all the time. So, fine, let's play our kings. Let's play our queens, jacks, tens, ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack. Let's widen our range a little bit to include the top 7% of hands. And let's just play them perfectly post-flop. Problem is, now, yeah, we avoid tough spots, but hands like 8-7 suited make money. Hands like pocket 5s make money. Not a lot of money, a little bit of money. And by playing those hands well and correctly, you add money to your win rate. So yeah, if you are good, well, if you're bad, yeah, you should play tight. But if you're good, as your skills expand, as you learn to play better, you should play more hands. And the way you get better is by actively getting in there and playing more hands. So what happens to a lot of people is they get stuck in this mindset of, I'm only going to play good cards, and then they never improve their skills because they just only play good cards, and they get stuck in the games. Well, they get stuck in the same routine, and they never progress their skills. And that's not really what I want to happen to you. So instead of the idea of, I'm just going to avoid all tough spots ever and never be in a tough spot, I'd rather you push the boundaries, especially when you are trying to improve your skills and trying to move up in the stakes, because that's going to allow you to have a higher win rate. And as Kevin says, you don't win the pots that don't belong to you, which is a big problem. But quads, you only get them 1 out of 193,000 times. Yeah, sometimes they lose. And you have to be good enough and disciplined enough to know it so that you make the right play. That's me it for today. Hope y'all have a great new year. I don't think I'm going to be streaming anymore for the rest of the year. Well, I'm sorry, for the rest of the year, duh. I will be back on January 17th, I think, because I'm going to Party Poker UK. I'm giving away 1% of my action. You can find that on twitter.com/JonathanLittle. Instagram says I have 20 seconds left, so I have to go. Thanks to everyone for being here. Check out pokercoaching.com/sale. Good luck in your games. Have fun. We have a new challenge coming out for poker coaching. It's actually going to be a whole month-long thing, so I'm excited for that. If you're a poker coaching member, you'll have access, and if not, sign up. Good luck. Bye-bye.